watching Fox Local.
Your Fox 10 News Alert here at this hour. We are staying on top of this big story for you this morning on our roadways from overnight. Quite the situation along the I-10 and 19th Avenue. We are hearing a pedestrian was hit and killed, causing a huge backup as the morning rush hour started to really pick up. ADOT says they saw a man wandering on the I-10 in the westbound lanes. They alerted DPS. According to authorities, the man crossed over the median into the eastbound lanes where they were hit by a driver. That driver did stay on scene. There's a look at the vehicle right there in the back of that tow truck. DPS says alcohol does not appear to be a factor. The scene cleared about an hour ago and all lanes have now reopened.
Also developing this morning, hundreds of people in the East Valley are without power after a car crashes right into a power pole. You can see it here in this video. This happened in Tempe near the Loop 202 and Rule Road. You see the pole there into the tree. Well, the outage map on APS's website shows a little more than 350 customers have lost power, which is expected to be fully restored within the hour. We have reached out to Tempe police to get more details about the crash. Well, you decide, Arizona. A busy week of high-profile visits continues as the presidential campaigns make a big push for votes leading up to Election Day.
Well, this includes a historic visit today from President Joe Biden. Dominique Newland live with the details at this hour. Good morning, Dom.
Good morning. President Biden is expected to go to the Gila River Indian Reservation today, and there he will be the first sitting president to apologize for the country's role in the Indian boarding school system. Now, the details we can tell you so far about his trip over to the reservation and when he arrived. So he got into town last night. He landed at Sky Harbor, and some state leaders, they were there in attendance at the airport for his arrival and watched as the president greeted tribal members. Now, today he will visit the Gila River Indian Reservation to formally apologize for the country's role in forcing indigenous children for over 150 years into boarding schools, where many were physically, emotionally, and sexually abused, and more than 950 children died. Well, tribal leaders say that the Biden-Harris administration has helped implement policy on native land and given indigenous people a voice.
With the assistance of the White House, we have the first in the Western Hemisphere solar panels over canals. We have been doing water efficiency and water conservation projects that this administration has supported as well. So this shows when tribes are at the table, they bring innovation.
There are no known plans of any further action other than the apology. The president also expected to speak about how a Harris-Walz administration can further the relationship with this Indian community. So be sure to stick with Fox 10. We'll have the latest updates a little bit later on this afternoon regarding more of the president's visit to Arizona. I'll send it back to you.
Dominique, thank you. And former President Donald Trump returned to Arizona yesterday. He spoke to supporters at ASU's Mullet Arena in Tempe. The Republican nominee talked about beefing up border security, ending the war in Ukraine, keeping trans athletes out of women's sports, and fixing the economy.
Rapidly build the greatest economy in history. I will pass historic tax cuts for workers and small businesses, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. No tax.
Trump will be back in Arizona next Thursday as a guest on Tucker Carlson's live tour at Desert Diamond Arena.
As Trump campaigned here in the Valley, Kamala Harris held a rally in Georgia with rock and roll legend Bruce Springsteen taking the stage. With the Harris campaign hoping for a jolt of enthusiasm, the VP eventually appearing on stage with former President Barack Obama, who is giving an in-person assist here as well in the final days, making his rounds around the country. Democrats talking about Trump during their visit.
Because he acts goofy does not mean his presidency wouldn't be dangerous.
And make no mistake, we will win. We will win.
From Georgia, it is on to Texas with another celebrity appearance. Beyonce expected to take the stage with Harris. And while so many states are still within the margin of error, the Real Clear Politics national average here trending in Trump's direction after what had been a consistent Harris lead.
And Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz is set to visit Arizona tomorrow. The Minnesota governor is scheduled to make a campaign stop in Window Rock. And looking ahead, with the election now just 10 days out, the Harris campaign tells Fox 10 that she's planning one more trip to Arizona before Election Day.
Across Arizona, the Yuma County Sheriff's Office releasing photos of a suspect here destroying campaign signs. Investigators say witnesses reported seeing this man run over signs with his car, kicking signs over and even using a machete to damage the Trump Vance signs. He was gone by the time deputies arrived. YCSO says defacing, removing or covering campaign signs is a Class 2 misdemeanor, and the suspect could in fact face criminal damage or even theft charges. New developments this morning on a story we brought you here first on AZAM yesterday as breaking news. An arrest has now been made after a man torched a USPS mailbox in Phoenix.
And it's now been confirmed that ballots were damaged in all of this. Police say that the suspect confessed to damaging the blue drive-up collection box near 7th Avenue and Indian School Road. But his goal had nothing to do with the election, apparently. Instead, the suspect, who you saw there, Dieter Bradford Clough-Corn, told investigators that he wanted to get arrested. It's not clear why the 35-year-old wanted that. Public records show a series of arrests. Video surveillance led police to him, he then told detectives that he lit a piece of paper with a lighter and threw it in the box.
He didn't know what was inside the mailbox. He didn't know if there was ballots or any kind of election elements in there at the time, and that was not his goal. This was not politically motivated. This was not related to the election in any way.
It's being reported that about 20 ballots were in the box. In a statement, County Recorder Stephen Richer reminds voters to check their ballot status at beballotready.vote. The site will typically show you if your ballot was delivered within 72 hours. It's a federal crime to vandalize a mailbox, punishable by up to 3 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000.
A reminder that today is the last day you can request an early ballot. Also today, dozens more early voting centers are opening in Maricopa County. You can get more information on where and how to vote on fox10phoenix.com. And if you plan to mail your early ballot back, the deadline to do so is Tuesday.
Also this weekend, it's your last chance to take in the sights, the sounds, and of course the food at the Arizona State Fair.
Oh, it has been an amazing last few weeks, especially as those temperatures started to drop. That means today is your final Feel Good Friday. If you bring 10 non-perishable food items between noon and 6 p.m., you get a free entrance to the fair. The food will be donated to St. Mary's Food Bank. They are hoping for a big final push. So far this year, more than 24,000 pounds of food has been collected, but that's down more than 40,000 pounds from the same time last year. We saw some of those numbers at the State Fair dip in the earlier days of the fair because of those hot temperatures. But folks over the last 7 to 10 days have really started to show up.
The teenage boy accused of planning to set off a bomb at the Phoenix Pride Festival expected to appear before a judge.
So he will be arraigned this morning in the downtown Superior Court. Marvin Hollow was arrested a week before he could carry out the attack. His mother told police her son had been talking to terrorists in chat rooms for months. Investigators found conversations where he said he had a drone to move the bomb. He is now being charged as an adult with 1 count of terrorism and conspiracy to commit terrorism. He's held on a $1 million cash-only bond.
A California man is behind bars after the Coconino County Sheriff's Office found 2 people dead north of Flagstaff. Deputies say that 30-year-old Manilik Dressler here stabbed the victims yesterday afternoon at a home in Dooney Park. A man also suffered stab wounds and was taken to the hospital. The names of the people who died have not been released. There's no word yet on a possible motive for the violence.
An East Valley teen violent suspect heading to prison. Kyler Renner sentenced today after pleading guilty in 3 separate cases. 2 involved drug charges. The other was an assault at a downtown Gilbert parking garage from December of 2022. The 19-year-old was sentenced to 2 years in prison for drug and aggravated assault charges.
Another man being sentenced to prison, this time for organized retail theft at Walmart. This is 26-year-old Andrew James. He'll spend the next 2.5 years behind bars after stealing more than $1,000 worth of jewelry last year in November. Cook was also sentenced for possession of drugs, DUI, and resisting arrest.
I-10 eastbound is going to be closed from the 51 mini stack to US 60. 10 p.m. Friday to 4 a.m. Monday. Morning Loop 101 westbound will be closed 19th Avenue to 51st Ave, 10 p.m. Friday. That's tonight all the way through 5 a.m. Monday. Morning Loop 101 southbound will be closed from Pima to Frank Lloyd Wright tonight. That closure begins at 10 p.m. through 5 a.m. Monday morning. And then we're going to head slowly over to the 51. Do you remember when the northbound lanes were closed all the way from the 10 to the 101? It was a big headache. Well, they're reversing it, and it's going to be from 9 p.m. tonight through 9 p.m. Saturday. Some resurfacing there. I-17 southbound closed Peoria to Indian School, 9 p.m. Saturday, 9 a.m. Sunday. The ongoing resurfacing in the I-17. The southbound will be narrowed from State Route 74 to Loop 303. This is going to be changing throughout the weekend. So just keep an eye out for those big detour signs. They're going to tell you where you need to go. One more. Loop 202 westbound will be narrowed. Priest Drive to 40th Street, 9 p.m. Sunday to 4 a.m. Monday. That's a late weekend closure. Scan that QR code and everything you need will be right there.
So the D-backs aren't playing ball at Chase Field until really November.
But the stadium will be rocking. They're hosting the November Nights Music Festival. It's an all-day music fest held on November 16th. Weezer is headlining along with performances from Sublime, Third Eye Blind, and even more. And then, of course, in addition to the music, we got to have some good food, right? How about the November Burger? That, they say, is big enough to split between 4 people.
2 grilled cheese sandwiches, 2 burger patties, 4 slices of cheese, crispy onions, barbecue aioli, pickles. It's skewered with, 4 wings, and a couple sausages of bratwurst cut, and then we have some homemade barbecue potato chips.
Ooh, homemade potato chips? Now you're talking.
Yeah, it's loaded. Look at that thing. If you do have a ticket to the festival, you can get a free ride to and from the event on the light rail.
Happening this weekend, a great deal for you to get a furry friend for your home. The Arizona Animal Welfare League offering half off all puppy adoptions. You heard Anita in the background. She's like,
I know, heard that.
I love her. So the deal applies to all dogs 1 year or younger at the main shelter near 40th Street in Washington. It runs today through Sunday. The AAWL says it's caring for at least 30 pups right now that are ready for their forever homes.